Last year, my mom and I took a trip to New Orleans during Halloween. On the car ride, she asked me, if we ran into a vampire and they offered to turn you, would you do it? My answer was, can I have a free trial? As someone who thinks that immortality sounds like literal hell on earth, even I could admit that there is something enticing about becoming a vampire. Being a sexy bloodsucker for all eternity is cool, of course, but the most attractive thing to me is the freedom and self-indulgence. This idea is explored a lot in Season 1 of Interview with the Vampire. Lestat, who is the oldest vampire in our immortal family, views vampirism as a way to give in to one's true nature. That includes embracing the parts of ourselves that we may consider monstrous. Kiss those you love, kill those you hate, do what brings you pleasure.
Be all the beautiful things you are, and be them without apology.
But Louis and Claudia, the newest vampires of the family, struggle with this sentiment. Louis actively hates the monstrous parts of himself. He refuses to eat humans as a way to maintain some type of control on his life. One of the only times he kills someone out of pure hatred results in the death of innocent people, and he becomes so guilt-ridden about it that he brings Claudia home in an attempt at redemption. Claudia, on the other hand, loves being a vampire. She eats who she wants when she wants. The problem is that she wants more than just to eat. She wants companionship, and she cannot have it because her fathers have trapped her in the body of a young teenager. The first time Claudia is intimate with someone she likes, she loses control and kills him. And this moment is when she begins to hate Lestat, because his teachings are fruitless. These moments of giving into their vampiric nature, both intentionally and unintentionally, have had disastrous consequences. Is being a vampire just a constant cycle of living instinctively and dealing with the results? I was thinking about moments in the show where I could explore this topic further, and my mind kept coming back to the Mardi Gras ball in Season 1, Episode 7, The Thing Lays Still. The main conflict of this episode is that Louis is struggling between his desire for Lestat and his duty to Claudia. He knows that choosing Lestat is wrong, that it will have disastrous consequences, but something compels him to do it anyways. I mean, put Sam Reid in front of me and I'm folding two, girl, I get it. But before we get into the details of the Mardi Gras ball, let's establish some context. What have our immortal family been up to prior to the festivities? Well, we begin the episode with Claudia doing what most young women do, plotting her father's murder. After years of dealing with Lestat's lies and abuse, she has decided that the only way that she and Louis can be free from their maker is to kill him. This decision comes at a convenient time. The people of New Orleans have caught on to the fact that the residents of 1132 Rue Royale Street haven't aged in decades. Strangers arrive at the townhouse asking for cures to their sickness, and people leave small talismans at their front door. Lestat decides that they need to move to avoid growing suspicion. Claudia convinces Lestat to throw a Mardi Gras ball before they leave, but with an added vampire twist. After the party, they will lure a select amount of humans to their home where they will gorge themselves on blood. A grand finale to their time in New Orleans and the perfect opportunity to poison Lestat. There's only one problem, though. Lestat needs to be oblivious to their plans, and for that they will need a distraction. Claudia suggests that Louis give Lestat all of his attention to keep him preoccupied, but Louis worries that he will fall so deep in love that he will have second thoughts about the murder plan. Despite his apprehension, he agrees to go through with it. Throughout the episode, we get to see Lestat do some girly pop party planning, which gives us a deeper look into the ball's overall theme. The invitation reads, Crew of Raj Mardi Gras Ball, your attendance is requested at the Savage Garden of Earthly Delights, sponsored by Lestat de Liancourt and Louis de Pointulac. The theme, the Savage Garden of Earthly Delights, is a combination of two different phrases. The first is the Savage Garden, a phrase that Lestat uses multiple times in the show and books to describe the earth, a place of ruthless, uncontrolled beauty that is indifferent to suffering.
Drink up, my good man. The earth's a savage garden.
The other half refers to the Garden of Earthly Delights, a Northern Renaissance painting by the Dutch artist Hieronymus Bosch. The Garden of Earthly Delights is a triptych oil painting, meaning it's divided into 3 panels that are connected by hinges and can be closed. Think of it like those old trifolds you would use at the science fair. That's what Mr. Bosch was working with, but in the 15th century. When closed, it displays a monochromatic painting of the world's creation and the inscribed words, "For he spoke and it was done, he commanded and it stood fast." When opened, viewers are expected to read the painting from left to right. The far left panel depicts God blessing the union of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The center panel shows a lush paradise where hundreds of people engage in different sensory pleasures. And the last panel is Bosch's own surreal interpretation of hell. And mind you, that is a gross oversimplification. This painting is huge and packed with so much detail that you could probably stare at it for hours and still miss something. And every small interaction has some kind of symbolic meaning that people have been discussing since it was painted centuries ago. Once you take a really good look at this painting, you can see how much insane detail was put into designing the Mardi Gras ball, starting with the invitation. We can see 3 different images from the center panel: a man riding a griffin, some men resting on oversized fruits, and these men doing something. A lot of this stuff is kind of abstract. Moving on to the ball itself, many guests wear animal masks that match animals found in the painting, like horses, boars, and peacocks. Some are even wearing masks with fictional animals, like dragons and griffins. There are tons of fictional creatures in the Garden of Earthly Delights, some that can be named and some that cannot. A few of the women wear fruits like cherries and blackberries on their heads. Fruit is everywhere in the center panel of the painting, likely because of its sexual connotation and its relation to Adam and Eve and forbidden fruit. There's also the decor. On the dance floor, there seems to be a replica of one of the 6 large structures in the second panel. It is the centerpiece of the ballroom, just as the structure is the centerpiece of the painting. In the background of some scenes, we can see this strange-looking tree. This is a dragon tree, a subtropical tree native to Yemen and the Canary Islands. Bosch uses it in the first panel to represent the Tree of Life in the Garden of Eden, which has the ability to grant eternal life. The sap of the dragon tree is actually bright red and has been used for centuries in traditional medicine to heal wounds and soothe skin. A blood red substance that heals wounds and grants eternal life. Where have I heard that one before? Perched on the dragon tree, we see 2 owls. There's also a large one in the background of a few shots. In Bosch's time, owls were not a symbol of wisdom, they were a symbol of evil and doom, usually associated with the devil. Nocturnal predators that lurk in the darkness waiting for the perfect moment to strike. I wonder where I've heard that one before. There's a lot more references like this fish and this sculpture of an egg, but I think you get the general idea. So what significance does this painting have to this scene? Well, I think the Garden of Earthly Delights is about a lot of things, one of which is giving into carnal desire. The figures in the central panel live hedonistically, gorging on fruit, sharing it with other people, engaging in sexual acts, and they do it all with an almost naive curiosity. This is kind of how Lestat sees vampirism, doing what gives you pleasure with no concern for consequence. But the problem is that our vampires don't live in this idealized garden. They live in a society, one that will punish them for stepping out of line. Louis and Claudia are subject to racism. Claudia is undermined for her perceived age. Lestat and Louis have to keep their relationship a secret or they could end up imprisoned. There are outside forces that prevent our vamps from just living however they want. And those are just the human attributes. They also have to restrict their appetites to live as a part of normal society. Don't kill too frequently, no persons of note, always burn them in the incinerator.
What did I just say?
Don't eat cops.
But this ball is an opportunity to throw caution to the wind, to give into carnal desire and kill with no reservations, to be gluttonous. When discussing the party plans with Louis and Claudia, Lestat says,
And let the flesh instruct the mind.
And isn't that exactly what the figures in this painting are doing? Letting the flesh instruct the mind? I think this idea of letting go of restrictions even comes through in the costuming. At the beginning of the ball, Lestat wears this extravagant costume with this very restrictive-looking corset that costume designer Carol Cutshaw said was inspired by straitjackets and other restraints. As the night goes on, his costumes become less and less restrictive until the end feast when he's wearing only a loose shirt and pants. Another major theme in the Garden of Earthly Delights is the dangers of falling into temptation. Although the scene in the center panel looks like a paradise, there are signs of something sinister hidden underneath. One of my favorite examples of this is in the owls, which, as we established before, symbolize evil. In the first panel, there is only one owl, hiding in the shadows of the fountain. In the second panel, there are 3 owls out in the open, engaging with the people around them. As these figures give in to desire, evil moves out of the shadows. There's also the notion that these people are giving into temptation without the knowledge of the torture that awaits them on the third panel. In hell, we see one owl in its true natural form, a demon that eats humans and shits them into a black hole. And I really didn't think I'd be saying those words today. At the beginning of the ball, Louis and Claudia act as literal devils, walking around tempting the attendees with the promise of eternal life. They mark these guests with a boutonniere made of amaranth, a flower known for maintaining its vibrancy even after it's been cut and dried. Because of this, it has come to symbolize longevity and immortality.
Amaranth. Perfection.
They specifically target notable people, police chiefs, city councilmen, people who have power and may want more. They offer the opportunity to live hedonistically for all eternity without the consequences of aging, sickness, or death, and they all seem really enthusiastic about it. None of these people ask any questions or inquire about the price they will have to pay. Their lust for power blinds them, and they end up paying for it in the same way those poor people in the painting did, by becoming dinner. The only person who seems even a little bit interested in learning more is Tom Anderson, and he doesn't seem to care once he's had a few drinks and a cocktail of laudanum and arsenic.
Where do you meet the devil? And what are the terms of the agreement? Give me that ladle.
It's ironic how the humans who have forced these restrictions on our vampires are now the ones asking for their secret. But we cannot talk about the theme of temptation in this episode without talking about the tempter himself, Lestat. Between Lestat cheating on Louis, dropping him from the sky, and putting hands on their daughter, Louis has rightfully been keeping him at an arm's length for years now. But Claudia suggests that he give Lestat all of his attention as a distraction. This is genius, considering all Lestat really wants is Louis' attention, but Louis doesn't think he can do it.
Give him all your heart and I'll do the rest.
I can't do that. I'll lose myself in him.
Leave a little shelf inside there for me. I'll jump back in and pull you out before I kill him.
Even though Louis resents Lestat for all of his offenses, there is a connection between them that cannot be ignored. It's the reason why Louis takes him back after the drop, the reason he's always trying to be the mediator between Lestat and Claudia. There is always a part of him that wants to love Lestat. This is exactly why Claudia doesn't tell him her entire plan, because she doesn't trust him to stay the course. And of course she was right. Claudia, my beautiful clever girl, every man who has ever wronged you will burn in hell, God willing. Our vampires have decided to starve themselves before the ball to make the feast as euphoric as possible. But the fasting has left Louis weaker than usual, and that means it will be even harder for him to resist Lestat.
A cascade of feelings came over me as I watched him sponge up the adoration. I wanted him dead. I wanted him all to myself. The fasting was a mistake. I wasn't thinking clearly.
This statement feels so unlike the melancholic version of Louis we've known for the last few episodes. His reservations are slipping away. He doesn't want to be passive anymore. He wants to act, to take what he wants, whether that means killing Lestat or the secret second thing is still up in the air. The temptation comes to a head when Louis finds Lestat out on the balcony. Lestat's wig now lays at his feet, which I think is a subtle piece of storytelling. He is dismantling this extravagant character he's playing to have a vulnerable moment with Louis, but Louis keeps his wig on because he needs to keep his guard up. He lights Louis' cigarette like old times and starts his monologue. I don't want to go to copyright jail, so I'm just going to read it to you. I'm going to miss this place. There's not an inch of this city that wasn't built from the fierce wilderness that surrounds it. Hurricanes, floods, fevers, the damp climate on every painted sign, every stone facade. High windows through which enameled bits of civilization glitter, silhouettes emerging, wandering out to catch a silent flash of lightning, the silky warmth of summer rain, desperately alive and desperately fragile. This monologue is an altered version of a quote from the book, one where Louis compares Paris to New Orleans. It was what New Orleans had for so long tried to be, but New Orleans, though beautiful and desperately alive, was desperately fragile. Not an inch of those wooden streets nor a brick of the crowded Spanish houses had not been bought from the fierce wilderness that forever surrounded the city, ready to engulf it. Hurricanes, floods, fevers, the plague, and the damp of the Louisiana climate itself worked tirelessly on every hewn plank or stone facade, so that New Orleans seemed at all times like a dream in the imagination of her striving populace. a dream held intact at every second by a tenacious, though unconscious, collective will. Although these monologues share the same sentiment, Lestat adds an optimistic twist to the many disasters that have plagued New Orleans. Storms are destructive, yes, but there is something awe-inspiring about lightning, something soothing about the feeling of rain on your skin. It reminds me of the Savage Garden, the idea that beauty and destruction are interlinked. And of course, Lestat isn't really talking about New Orleans. He's talking about his relationship with Louis. Like the city of New Orleans, their relationship has been defined by disastrous moments. Claudia's turning, the drop, soon to be Lestat's murder. These moments are now woven into the fabric of their relationship, shaping it forever. I don't think it's a coincidence that a hurricane is destroying New Orleans when Louis and Lestat reunite to talk about their grief for Claudia. And yet, despite these moments where they have been monstrous and hurt each other, their love persists.
Like, Louis has lost touch with New Orleans. He's like become a complete hermit. He has no ties anymore. Part of him falling in love with Lestat again, I think, is also him falling in love with the city again. And there's this really like bittersweet moment where Louis realizes, on the balcony, the beautiful way that these ideas kind of coexist now. Lestat and New Orleans are synonymous with each other.
Lestat knows what Louis and Claudia are doing. He knows that they are planning to kill him. This monologue is Lestat's olive branch, a chance to remind Louis of their love for New Orleans, their love for each other, in the hopes that it will overcome his devotion to Claudia, especially because Louis's love for Claudia is a major source of insecurity for him. He wants Louis to choose him.
But he understands why he has to die, or why Louis has to kill him. I think he knows deep down that Claudia can actually probably give Louis maybe something that he can't give him, which is, a sense of purpose, perhaps.
But he also knows that this night is the point of no return. He is remorseful for the end of their relationship as they know it. Whatever happens tonight will change them forever. It will become one of those hurricanes. He gets very emotional during this monologue, but Louis deflects the conversation, telling Lestat that all the boutonnieres have been given out. Lestat puts out his cigarette and takes a step towards Louis, cornering him. Louis tries to look away, to resist temptation, but eventually he gives in and looks up. Jacob Anderson, the actor you are. First, I just want to praise the costume department here because Jacob looks amazing in this wig and makeup. It's one of my favorite Louis looks, possibly my favorite Louis look. And the look Jacob gives here is just devastating. A combination of fear and guilt that guts me every time. I really like that one of Louis's character quirks is that he's a really bad liar.
What is it, my love?
I think it's the gin.
Lestat asks Louis to dance with him before they begin their vampire feasting. The way Sam delivers this line has a little bit of bite to it, like Lestat is frustrated that his love confession didn't work.
A last dance before the feast.
I'd like that.
Then the two make their way out to the dance floor and the temptation is at its peak. And of course it wouldn't be an interview with a vampire video without me talking about the music. The song that plays during Louis and Lestat's dance is a jazz rendition of Come to Me, the song that Lestat made for Louis in episode 6.
Come to me. And let my infinite embrace confound you.
Lestat originally wrote this song as a way to bring Louis back to him, and now it's being used again to bring Louis back to him. I'm going to burst into flames any minute now. And it works. As they dance, Louis says, "It was my sole duty to distract Lestat, but in his mirrored eyes, the distraction reflected back onto me. And in the dead center of the whispering gallery, I lost the thread to my plotting and fell once more into the well with no bottom. I was his and he was mine." And honestly, I think Lestat has fallen for it just as much as Louis has. They have succumbed to something bigger than themselves, and for a moment there is no plotting, no hatred. They even end the dance with a public kiss. This is kind of a big deal. As mentioned before, our vampires have had to spend their lives hiding their true nature from society. Their vampirism, of course, but also their sexuality. Louis and Lestat can be friends, brothers, roommates, business partners, but never lovers, never parents. Not to mention, Lestat has always been able to toe the line due to his privilege as a white man, but Louis doesn't get that luxury. The risk of exposure was too great. But remember, tonight is all about letting go of inhibitions. This kiss and the feast at the end are similar in the sense that they are an unveiling, moments where our characters get to give in to their hunger. The kiss prompts a shocked reaction from the crowd, which I think is really funny. Like, this lady was okay with Lestat eating a fake baby on the parade float, but drew the line at gay kissing. This moment was so scandalous that despite the massacre that happens after this party, Louis claims that this kiss was, in his words, the only crime unfit to print.
I love the disappointment as well. Like, I love the disappointment in, like, the only crime unfit to print took place on that dance floor. There's this horrific event that happens that night. And there's this one pure moment, this one loving, pure thing in this room full of, like, dirty people. There's something really clean and simple about love. And that is the thing that is so loaded with shame and disgust.
But not everything is sunshine and rainbows, unfortunately. This kiss is a pure and beautiful moment between the two of them, but it is also the point of no return for Louis. He has given in to desire, and it will have drastic consequences. When the time comes to burn Lestat's body, Louis cannot do it, and when Claudia objects, he chokes her, which is definitely one of the worst things he does in this entire show. In sparing Lestat, he has permanently damaged his relationship with his daughter, and this will have a domino effect that will eventually lead to her death. Vampirism can set you free, but it also means that bad decisions will torment you for all eternity.
Well, what is vampire life but poor decisions stacked next to better ones?
And I think that's what makes Louis' story so compelling. He can only embrace his vampirism once he has accepted that he wasn't as passive in Claudia's suffering as he originally thought. Once he accepts that he is capable of being monstrous, that he has hurt this person that he loves, that's when he can finally be a vampire.
And that's like the hardest part of it, really, for Louis, is to learn who he was through Claudia. I think he read those diaries when he was in a very different place and probably in the grips of like a sort of like hubris, you know, like they took her from me. I've been wrong. And now he's in a state, like throughout season 2, he's in a state of, hang on, that this was me. I did this. I wronged her. I hurt 1/3 of my, of my heart.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry it took me so long to make another video like this. This video was kind of all over the place. It was originally just going to be a breakdown of the balcony scene, but I got a little carried away. The interview clips used in this video came from the AMC Plus Interview with the Vampire podcast, hosted by Naomi Ekperigin, specifically the episode Insane, Bloody, and Gorgeous, and this TV Insider interview with Jacob Anderson by Kelly Boyle. Most of the information I learned about the Garden of Earthly Delights came from these 2 videos by Great Art Explained and Creative Codex, as well as this interactive exhibit by the Dutch Public Broadcasting Service, NTR. This exhibit is really, really cool, so if you're interested in learning more about this painting and its symbolism, definitely check it out. I will link it in the description. If you have any different interpretations about the painting and how it relates to the episode, I would love to hear them in the comments. I hope this helped you survive the drought before season 3. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
May I finish this dance?
You feel happier, sister.